What's up, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Money. A couple months ago, I put out a video saying that you could save up to 50% by switching your cell phone service from one of the major providers like Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile over to one of the virtual mobile operators, specifically Cricket Wireless. But there are a lot of other options for you, such as like TracFone or Straight Talk Wireless or Metro Mobile or Metro PCS or whatever they call themselves now. Doesn't really matter which one it is. There is a lot of savings to be had by switching from one of the majors to one of these virtual operators. And the reason that they are able to give you that service for so cheap is because there is a lot of bandwidth that these major companies have that is not being used, and so they sell it to these virtual mobile operators for them to operate their service at a discounted rate on the majors' towers. Now, there's obviously going to be some caveats to that. If this system does get fully loaded, I would assume that they would kick off the people on the virtual mobile operators. There may be some speed limitations on the virtual mobile operators. There may be some latency issues with that as well. But in my experience, I've used Straight Talk Wireless and I have used Cricket Wireless, both of which I've been very happy with, and I've never had a problem being able to do anything that I would normally do on a cell phone as far as speed is concerned. So streaming high definition videos from YouTube or any other streaming service, like for example like Netflix or Hulu. I've never had any problems with call quality, call reception, text messages, anything like that that I hadn't had a similar problem with one of the majors. And for the most part, everyone has a cell phone at this point, and probably 90% of the people that have cell phones or more have a smartphone. And if you're in a business like I'm in, doing YouTube, in a real estate business where you may have to be on the road at any time dealing with multiple issues, or generally if you're in any type of business, having a smartphone is almost critical so that you have all the information that you could possibly need right at your fingertips. In addition, it just makes everyday life quite a bit easier with all of the information essentially of the world right at your fingertips. Maps and anything else, email, whatever that you could have. So having a smartphone at this point is almost essential. But you can save up to about 50% by switching from one of the majors over to one of these virtual operators. Now, this is one of the biggest things in my monthly budget that saves me one of the most amounts of money of my recurring services, because I have in general cut out as much as I can possibly cut out. I save a ton of money by being on Cricket Wireless versus AT&T. And I have said before that Cricket Wireless runs entirely on the AT&T network and that you get the same exact coverage as the AT&T network provides. And as a matter of fact, they are a wholly owned subsidiary of AT&T to the point where I could not transfer from Cricket Wireless to AT&T without being with someone else for a while because they said that I was already in their system. But even though it's one of my biggest savings items, that would be kind of worthless if the service wasn't either as good or nearly as good as one of the majors, because who cares if you're saving a bunch of money if the thing doesn't work? And now I will give you that in my area, Verizon Wireless is by far tops. They are number one as far as coverage and reception, but they only beat AT&T by just a small fraction in my experience. And this is in the greater Cincinnati, northern Kentucky, southeast Indiana area. I get out on my other channel out into remote areas a lot more than I do here where I record in my basement studio. And so I get to see the difference between AT&T and Verizon in real life. A lot of my friends have Verizon, I have AT&T. This is at my piece of property. We set up a giant slip and slide every year. And right here at the top, I have great coverage with my AT&T/Cricket service. I can do calls, text, data, whatever. But by the time I get to the bottom of this 150-foot long slip and slide in the middle of nowhere, I have no service whatsoever. I can't make calls, I can't receive text, I can't receive data, nothing. Whereas my friends with Verizon can. So if you are looking for the maximum coverage, you need to look for something that runs on the Verizon network. But I have recently just made a nearly coast-to-coast drive from the greater Cincinnati area. I know that's a ways in from the East Coast, but all the way out to Death Valley in California. Now you might be saying, why in the heck would you do that? Why would you drive that far when the Wright brothers invented the airplane over 100 years ago? The answer is that we were driving out to Las Vegas for a wedding, and it was my mother-in-law's first grandson that was getting married, and she's deathly afraid of airplanes, so I agreed to drive her out to the wedding. And I flew back, but my sister-in-law drove her back. But she has legitimate AT&T service, and I have Cricket Wireless service. So I was able to see how the coverage holds up through Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, and California. And what I can tell you is that the service was absolutely identical. For one, we had coverage in 95% of the places that we were. And anywhere where there wasn't coverage, our services went out at exactly the same time. We ended up getting voice, data, text back at exactly the same time. And again, anywhere where there wasn't coverage, you usually just had to drive up to the next rise or walk up onto the next hill for where the trails are, as far as like the Grand Canyon, Death Valley, things of that nature, where this coverage is a little bit more spotty, and you could get a signal. Now, I have no way to compare this versus Verizon, but as far as Cricket Wireless versus AT&T, the service was identical to each other. Now, I have also had this service all the way down to Sarasota in Florida, so I can pretty confidently say that from Sarasota, Florida, to Long Beach, California, where our plane laid over for a little bit before we flew back east, that Cricket Wireless's service is identical to AT&T's mainstream service. So if you guys want to save some money on your cell phone bill and you're either with AT&T now or you're willing to take like a 1% reduction in coverage area from Verizon to an AT&T service, I think that this is a great way to save some money. I am saving almost $900 a year by being with Cricket Wireless versus AT&T. If you do decide to sign up, be sure to check my friend referral code in the description. It will give you and I $25 off if you sign up and redeem that within 30 days and your service is active for 60 days or more. So when you do that, you will get a bill credit for $25, I will get a bill credit for $25, and we'll all be happier for it. If this video helps you out at all, please sure to give it a thumbs up for me. That really helps it out in the YouTube algorithm and can spread this message that this service is exactly the same as mainstream AT&T throughout the internet. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button down there to grow your wealth, increase your success, put you on the road to financial freedom. I appreciate you guys watching today, and I'll see you next time.